Viewers, for a very welcome to a very special broadcast from Glacier TV. It is that funny time of the year in iRacing called Week 13, and to celebrate Week 13, Talk Freak Racing have decided to set up a very special 2-hour race, including their familiar Ford GTs, Corvette C6Rs, and a newcomer, the Riley Daytona prototype. So, for this 2-hour event at Virginia International Raceway, we have in the commentary booth Mr. David Ward.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. David Ward, and also we have Yoni Batman as well. Woohoo! Lovely. Right, we've also got Will somewhere. Will might be lost. He might be in some kind of jungle somewhere. But yeah, we're absolutely looking forward to this racing. We've got about 34 to 36 entrants taking part. We're about sort of 10 or so down from who we expected, or how many we expected to turn up. But I think we're going to have some cracking racing, chaps.
Yeah, it's looking like a good track. I had a little go on it earlier, and I was okay up until the oak tree. Then after that, it got a little bit twisty and difficult.
Yeah, this is an extremely long circuit, very twisty, lots of gradient changes, and we're going to see a lot of accidents, I think. But just to give you guys some indication into the time differences, the fastest Riley Daytona prototype was 2:17, fastest GT1 was a 2:20, and the fastest Ford GT, which you're going to have an absolute nightmare around here, was a 2:26. So a good little split between the drivers.
Yeah, the Scots stuck it on pole in the DP, and yeah, that's a really good time. And we've got Farouk in the CR6 heading the pole there, but then you've got Isto like mixing it up, so you've got some DPs and Corvettes all mixed up together. It should be quite interesting.
Right, and because it's a 2-hour race, we need to just make sure, everyone needs to make sure they kind of keep it a little bit clean through the first few laps, get themselves underway, and I think we're just at grid at the moment. We're just trying to work out if there's anyone on the grid, and then I think we're going to have probably the world's longest pace lap, David.
Yeah, it's going to be about a 4-5 minute pace lap at this rate. With I think the pace car is going to be a constant 60 mile an hour.
Yep, and there'll be a lot of drivers everyone will be unfamiliar with, and we'll see a lot of drivers we all know as well. So it should be. We'll take you through that as the race progresses, but we're just lining up on pole position now. And I can take you through the grid. We'll split the grid by class type first of all. So in first place for the Riley Daytona prototype, Scott McDonough. In second position, Juha P. In third position is Nick Thyssen. Fourth is Lasse Brun Hansen. Fifth position is Isto Tillinen. Sixth is Harvin Espeland, and I've lost count already. And then the last is David Scott too. Right. Okay. So. Interspersed amongst Isto, Havard and David Scott are the GT1 drivers. First position Farouk Manzar, second Cal João Cardoso, third position Dennis Richard, in fourth position Anders Dahl, fifth Egil Sandfield, sixth position is Adomus Pakantinskas. I'm going to enjoy that one. That's a great name. In seventh position Ian Rogers, 8th position Stephen Van Helsingden, 9th is Luke Van Solch, in 10th position Mick Helen, 11th David Garcia, 12th is everyone's Le Mans expert Jonathan Boutel, and bring up the rear is Jose F. Estrada. Right, and you feeling brave to do the GT2s, David?
Oh no, but I'm just looking at David S. Peterson and Oliver Brandt. They haven't qualified, so are they just going to run at the back?
Well, don't quite know about Oliver Brandt. David S. Peterson has thrown a towel in. He had a particularly hard time. He's done about a half an hour practice, I think he's had, so he's decided to call it a day. And João Cardoso just said good luck to any commentator saying my name. Oh, okay, no worries. I'll just throw your name out there a lot more often as well, so I get a good practice at it. And yeah, so it looks like Oliver Brandt hasn't actually turned up.
Oh, okay. Right, let's go through the GT2s. I'm feeling quite brave, so if I get anyone's name wrong, you can complain to Rob. Okay, we got number.
I can have a go.
1. Oh, would you like to have a go?
Yeah, I can have a go. Yeah,
sure,
I
you
was
go
screwed
for
up
it
probably
then.
just as bad. But anyway, the pole position, unlike we've used to say Kimmo Suominen, instead we have Eric Vidorf in the number 94 car, followed closely by Kimmo Suominen in the second place. John Malia lines up in third, Toby Bushnell in fourth, Robert Laurie in fifth, Russell Cleason in sixth, Richard Sobolewski in 7th, Jasper Groneweg in 8th, Mark Bird 9th, Stefan Coppens 10th, Danny Bose 11th, Jesper Egebach, not sure if that's correct, but anyway, 12th, Michael C. West in 13th, Willem PNR in 14th, and as you guys said, David S. Peterson and Oliver Brandt filling the last final row of the grid by not showing up, one being a GT1 and one being a GT2.
Right. Okay. Well done, Yanni. That was. Well, if you mispronounce the names in a Finnish accent, it sounds a lot better than if you mispronounce them in a English accent, I find. So it's good that you got away with that. Any complaints, as usual, we are on the hashtag Green Heaven today on Twitter, so feel free to drop us some comments there. We're also at Glacier TV as well if you want to follow us. We're just going through one of the many S's in this little circuit. I think we're what's called turn number 7, 8 and 9 now, I think we are. And if you go onto our Twitter and if you follow Glacier TV, you will see a link from previous today that I put up of our commentator, Will Vincent, chucked up a nice little map, and because we couldn't find any corner names, he's made some up as well. So if any of you guys want to take a look at that image, have a little laugh, and they've got some great corner names on there.
Yeah, I think we're going up through the, climbing up the S's, and then we're down into the South Bank, and we've got a corner 11 called McGurk, which is
absolutely
Carl, and that's just before the oak tree, and I'm sure we'll see a few cars hit that. And then after this, it's a really long straight going up to Madison Avenue, which is corner 13. We'll just wait a moment while the guys get up there.
Yeah, I do like corner number 25 though.
Oh yeah, that was Ward. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's Will. Just pay him all his commission later on, okay?
Yeah, I thought it might have been a good name would have been Pink or something like that.
Fantastic. Well, we can rename it. He may not be too happy. We do have the combination 26, 27 and 28, which have been called the Glacier Curves. I wanted them to be called Penguin Bank, to be honest.
No!
Oh, and we got corner 20, which is zooming in.
You named, according to my team, the worst 3 corners of the whole racetrack. I hate those 3 corners, and now they're named after my team. Oh
well,
my god.
These were Will Vincent, okay? All
yeah,
checks
I'm gonna murder
payable.
him.
Yep, cool. Well, try not to tell us live on air, because that's pretty much emotive.
Yeah.
I've seen CSI, and how it works.
It would have been nice to have a few corners, maybe one called brown, the other called pink, and we could have come up with some innuendos there.
Don't you worry about innuendos, I've got that all covered. Right, so now we're somewhere else in the circuit. It's very far away. What were you up to about? We're just going through 16, 17 and 18, which have been called the Spiral. Have we, or have we been through them?
No, we've been through those. We're coming up to in the
24,
Cinnamon
I think.
Manza area. Oh yeah, we're coming up to Bird, Ward, and the roller coaster, and then we're coming down into the Glacier Curves.
Fantastic combination of names. And we've got that little rumble strip we should go across as well. It's not a rumble strip, sorry, the little darkened bit of tarmac as well. A lot of people have been thinking that's actually chicane in there, so they've been sort of taking it as they would intend to, but you can actually drive straight across it and keep a fast line.
Yeah, and now they're just going through the Glacier Curves and coming down to the Hog Bend, which is corner 28A, and this will come onto the front straight, so they're just going to come up behind the pace car now and start racing. They should all tighten up.
Right then, okay, so the pace car is in the pits and Scott McDonald lines them up, and he accelerates down the straight, just down the kink onto the start-finish straight, and 2 hours racing at Virginia International Raceway is now underway with the Riley Daytona prototypes just streaking up. Can't see any shenanigans going on at the back of the field just yet.
Yeah, Riley stretched up very nicely before the turn 1 even.
Everyone seems to be going through turn 1 okay. Oh, we've got 2 guys off on turn 1, 2 Corvettes, X off, and I didn't get the other name. Right,
okay, so we'll catch up with those, whoever they were, afterwards. However, we can see that there's a nice little slow snake split of the Rileys and the Corvettes further back.
Overall, very clean first half a lap, I'd say. I mean, 1/3 of a lap. This is insanely long lap to run, since it's not only the full course, it also has the additional east course in it.
Okay, so just looking back for any incidents, we can still tell you that the leaders are currently unchanged. First three, Scott McDonald, Julie Pye and Nick Thiessen, are still streaking away, followed by Lassie Brunner and the first of the Corvette GT1s, which is the car of Farouk Manzar.
Yeah, Scott McDonald looks like he's checking out.
Okay, we have had some drivers with some connection issues here today. Not least is the GT2 vehicle, the TFR GT2 vehicle of Toby Bushnell as well. So we may well see him drop from the race a few times today. And I'm just looking towards the back of the field as well, and I can see that we do have a black Corvette that's going quite slow. So I'm just trying to find out who that is.
Farouk and Jo and Isto all together in the CR6s, not too far behind the DPs. They seem to catch them up in certain places.
Yeah, and the DP don't get quite loose around these tight corners as well, so they're very rear happy. We featured them not a lot on Glacier. As we can see, the Black Rebels car, the yellow Black Rebels car of Jose Estrada, just run wide into the corner. I think we can focus on Jose for a bit. It looks like he's had some damage in the rear as well.
Damage in the rear?
Yeah. Okay, that looks like that's the end of the first lap for him as well. So he's just come into the pits and he's going to be getting some repair.
Have you ever driven around here, Will?
Will? I don't know who this Will chap is. I had a little go. Didn't last. I came off quite a nervous wreck, to be honest with you. Okay, second lap now. We can see the qualification or the standings are Scott McDonald first place, Juha Pye in second place, Nick Thiessen third place, fourth is Lassie Brun Hansen, fifth Farouk Manzar, sixth Yao Cardoso, seventh position Isto Turunen, eighth is Egil Sandfield. Currently, that's overall. Looking back to see if we can find any fights that run at the moment. I think we've got if we can concentrate on Eric Vadoff, I think. He's currently just being passed by a few Corvette drivers now. We can see a GT battle behind him as well. John Malia and Richard Sobolewski.
Yeah, and behind them there's a good train of Robert Lowry, Jesper Groeneweg, Stefan Coppens, Jesper Egeberg. A good train, 4-car train going back there.
Cool, so we've got a good little fight to focus on then, which is the last place on the podium for the GT2s.
Currently we're in car with Jesper Groeneweg coming in the backstretch, and we should be entering the not so familiar territory shortly, which will take a right-hand hairpin right here, as Jesper is looking for the 6th place right here, going to the hairpin.
He had a couple little checks. He had a couple little checks on the straight just to take a look and see what he was going to do.
Yeah, it's surprising that that is actually an excellent overtaking spot, since it's a tight hairpin instead of the usual kink followed by a right-hander that we've used to see around this racetrack. That is a good overtaking possibility, but that corner is not that wide, so you have to really dedicate yourself in order to complete that.
Okay, we can see that he's still streaking up behind Rob. I think he's just dropped off a little bit now. He's going to catch himself up hopefully by the end of lap.
Yeah, I'll get him going down through the glacier curves and onto the hog ben, and see if we can get him into the horseshoe on first corner.
By the way, Kimmo Suominen has taken the lead from Eric Vedorf in the GT2s.
Which is pretty much standard operation from Kimmo as well, so we wonder how well he'll streak out into the lead now. And that was them just coming out the hog pen now to go the start finish straight for the third GT2 lap. I'll look up the field now and see if we can see any further incidents.
Nick's getting caught by Lassie on Brunhinsen. I think I pronounced that right.
No, it sounded good. The extra masculinity really helps. Indeed, Lassie is catching Nick on this straight as well. The nice nice long straight. It's just come out of corner number 12, going into corner number 13, so get him scrub off the speed out.
Yeah, he really caught him on the brakes there. I think he'll catch him after this next twisty section.
Right through Coppin's bitch, you mean?
Yeah, just right through there and then into the spiral.
Okay. You name these corners.
There's definitely no passing in between in this section. It's definitely follow the leader.
And in the meanwhile, in the very lead of the pack, Juha Puu in the 5 car has taken the lead away from 67 car of Scott McDonough.
Oh, we absolutely missed that one, didn't we?
Yeah, lots of things happening all over the racetrack. I mean, some of the Riley drivers that got a 4-ish qualifying time are actually gaining places, and at the same time the GT1s are dropping places. The only ones that seem to be pretty smooth so far are the GT2s, but I think that's going to change quite a bit when the Rileys are going to catch them.
I've got a little bit of a theory about that. I think that this may be happening because obviously qualification takes into effect if you have any off tracks as well. I had a little look at the pass for first position, and it was late from Madison Avenue into corner number 13. Scott ran a little bit late, and that just allowed Juha to come up and just take the inside, and then through Coppin's bitch into the spirals. He stretched away. As we can see, Juha already lapping a GT2 drive with Toby Bushnell.
Was there a really change between Scott and Juha?
Yes.
Ah, I missed that.
No, that's fine. I didn't, and neither did the viewers. But no worries. We can see Juha's right up behind Toby now, and this is going to be a key component of today's racing. Is how clean these guys can get past the back markers.
Currently, good fire battle for 3rd position in the Riley class. Nick Thiessen in the 26 car holding that 3rd position, and Lasse Brun Hansen in the 84 car is hounding him constantly. Coming in the O3.
We expected Lassie to catch up with Nick, but we can also see that as a result of passing Toby Bushnell, Scott's right up behind you again as they come to the scene of last lap's incident. You can just see now Scott get underneath, so they've done the exact reverse, but I don't think the job's going to complete because I think that Juha can just close the hole now, just as they go down into spiral and line themselves up for the straights with corner number 19.
Yeah, Scott's not going to be able to get past here without some contact, so it'd be better off just sitting behind him and being patient. He's a lot faster than him, you can see.
Which is road curves and drop back.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. But further back as well, we can see that Nick Thiessen and Lassie are getting closer and closer now as they're being held up through the S's by Toby.
Yeah, Toby is. I believe he had some connection issues, so he's going to be playing his role in this. And
okay. Well, we're following the car number 26 now of Nick Thiessen as we can see this interesting little thing develop. As we can see them throw themselves through glacier curves and into Hog Pen. I don't know who the hell named it. Hog Pen. I'm trying to work out the relevance.
Toby Bushnell is being lapped by the 3rd and 4th cars in the Riley class, and main straightaway, so no problem should occur in the turn 1 braking here. Yep, both getting past very cleanly, and Toby did an excellent job of keeping out of the way and not having his interference with that battle. Like, good fight going on for 3rd place.
We had been slowing them down for pretty much most of the lap, but I did see Nick hold a little bit of a tighter line through that corner than I thought he would have done. So I think he was obviously trying to just make sure he didn't get dive bombed by Lassie.
Dive bomb by Lassie.
I'm writing that one down. Right, how's the battle between the GT1s going? Looks like Farouk's a couple of seconds ahead of Yao Cardoso now. Very strong showing by Yao, and Kimmo and Eric Vadorf. How close are these two boys? Well, they're quite stretched out now. It looks like the lead GT2s are quite stretched out, so there may be a bit of a train further back, but it doesn't look like there's any sort of passing opportunities going on. I think we found pretty much the best 2 fights on the track at the moment between Juha, Scott, and then Nick and Lassie.
Yeah, currently actually something happened to Kimmo Suominen right now. He dropped into from 1st place, he dropped back into 3rd in the GT2s. What happened there? Have a look and see. I
can't see any damage. Just having a little look around. There's a lovely Glacier Racing paint job. I'll take the credits later, by the way, Yoni. And we can certainly see he has dropped back, and he's in the clutches now.
Yeah,
against
he went off
Sobolewski.
track. He went off track in turn 1.
Oh, he's broken. Someone's broken. Kimmo doesn't normally make mistakes. A quick rundown for you for all the drivers who have retired. Mikael Helen, who's one of the Black Rebel guys, he's retired in his Corvette. Toby Bushnell also, as I predicted earlier, has had a unacceptable level on his throughput and his drops. He's had that done twice, but I think he's going to persevere. And also, Jose F. Estrada, the other Black Rebels vehicle, has retired from the race as well.
Yeah, the field seems to have stretched out quite a bit. The only battle that's going on at the moment is Nick Thiessen and Lassie.
Well, Lassie's a bit of a trier. He'll never give up.
No, go on and on.
Yep, always catches his man. Looking further back, I can see that Stefan Coppens and Danny Balls, they were about just under a second and a half from each other. They are. Whoa, Stefan's spun actually. Oh, that's not really good for him. Just caught Stefan Coppens spinning. No damage.
Oh, and we've missed it again. Scott's just got ahead of Ewan.
Okay, so change for the lead. Where are they running through? Looks like they're going under that bridge, aren't they? Which is, I think, on the Krupp and Bird complex, I think. But that was a change lead between Scott McDonough and Yuha Pai.
I'm just trying to see where. I'm going to go back and have a look and see where he did this.
Yeah, some good fighting and in the basically all of the classes. I mean, Kimmo went wide, dropped back into third, now trying to catch back second place, being held currently by John Malia, and Kimmo is 3.5 seconds behind them. And meanwhile, yeah, Eric Vadorf is slightly getting away from John Malia in the first place in the GT2s. Meanwhile, GT1 pack, sorry, is quite a stretch out. All I see is kind of telemetry is kind of mixed up, but for position 2 and 3, good-ish battle going on between Joao Cardoso and Eagle Sandfeld. But outside of that, the GT1s have been pretty well stretched, and so seems to be the Rileys at the moment, ever since Juha Pugh got by Scott McDonough.
Okay, it took a little bit of finding, but it seems as though he went wide on turn 1, and that allowed Scott to gain the lead.
Okay, turn 1 is called the Horseshoe, for future reference. Very North American name. Got a third of the Black Rebels, David Garcia, has retired. So it looks like all of the Black Rebels have left the building. About 20 minutes into the race now, and just going over the start finish straight in car with Yuha Pai for the start of lap number 7.
I think fuel strategy is going to play a big role in this. I'm not sure what the pit window is on this. Has anyone got any information on that?
Well, I think
Nope. I've never actually driven any of these 3 cars around this kind of this layout. So
No, neither have
your
I.
guess is just as good as mine.
Yeah, I would say maybe around the 45-minute mark.
right. Okay, 45-minute mark. I'm just writing that down. 45 minutes. David Ward. And what do you think, Yoni?
Maybe we should have some bets on this.
Yeah, no, that's what we're doing. Because let's face it, I don't think any of us have driven this combination, which is probably the reason why it was chosen by the TFR guys, really.
Well, I would take a personal guess that the GT2s are going to pit approximately the same time that they usually do, which would be about, considering this is not a flat-out circuit, about 55 minutes into the race, so they're going to need 2 full pit stops. But, I mean, not 2 full pit stops, but 2 pit stops. As for Corvettes, I would say it's going to be a fuel-saving mode, actually. In 2 hours, I would say 60 minutes is sufficient if you... right from the beginning, if you do fuel conservation mode, you are able to do this with a 1 pit stop.
Okay, drama. Lassie Brun Hansen has dropped way back, so I think Lassie might be in the pits. Indeed, Lassie is in the pits. I don't know if this is a force problem or whether, well, it looks like it's got some damage on the front. So the battle between Nick Thyssen and Lassie has seems to have stopped for the moment, and Lassie's now getting fixed up.
Yeah,
Classic.
meanwhile, Yeah, meanwhile, in the Corvettes, the battle for second place is heating up because Hoa Cardoso has caught Eagle Sandfeld.
Yeah, classic. Overshot the corner on the oak tree and just run a little wide.
Okay, the Egil and Yao battle is heating right up because they're going through the little S's now and they are dogfighting these two boys. So I think we're following the car number 25 of Yao Cardoso. And Mr. Ward, this is very much your speciality now.
The Corvettes, yeah. This is, I've never actually driven the Corvette on the Ver layout, so it's going to be tough around here, especially on the twisty windy bits in the Corvette because they are all about torque and power, and they don't like these twisty windy bits at all.
So it's a case of through the twisty bits, try and stay on the track. As you can see, Yao Cardoso runs a little bit of wide going out of Hog Pen. Lovely corner. And that's absolutely compromised his run down the start-finish straights from chasing Egil Sandfield for second position.
It looks like Jasper's retired as well.
As well as Russell Gleason.
Meanwhile, in the GT2s, Kimmo Suominen just nailed a 6/10 of a second faster lap time than John Malia in second place, so Kimmo is on a charge again.
And the times, the first two, so they go around the oak tree. Scott McDonald last lap 1:20.274, Yoho Pai 1:20.275, very, very quick.
Car number 25, they're getting really close going up these S's.
Yeah, sort of. Sadly, seems like the very lead of the race has become an effort of two guys plus Nick Thiessen having a lonely race in third place because the next Riley behind Nick Thiessen is already down almost 25 seconds.
Well,
so,
it's almost reminiscence of the GT and the LMP sort of battles, isn't it? Really, throughout the endurance leagues we see, we'll just see the two fastest LMPs class just shoot away, and the GT guys have a bit of fun.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm currently looking at the front straightaway. Dennis Richards has moved up one place. He overtook Jonathan Buttel in that was, I believe, I have to check that one out. It was battle for position number. Ninth or yeah, Dennis Richards took ninth place from Jonathan Buttel in the GT1 class.
Looks like Michael C. West has called it day as well, and we can just see the car number 25 has just dropped off of Egil Sandfield a little bit. It's just been caught by one of the Riley drivers of Who Espeland as well. So one of the Super Cup regulars who are Espeland is just catching up this little GT1 battle we're watching.
Yeah, I saw him. He was struggling to get through Copper's bitch into the spiral just before zooming in.
I just wonder if anyone's ever had trouble getting through Copper's bitch before. We're watching Kimmo Suurinen, I believe now, who's trying to catch up Jon Malia, which is almost the story of the late part of the TFR Super Cup season. And Jon and Eric Veloff just a couple of seconds apart from each other now.
Yeah, Kimmo's got to catch up with Jon and Eric, so I have no doubt he will, but maybe he'll just behind Jon like he's done for every other race and let Jon win. Oh, Jon's up.
Jon Malia's on the grass. And which corner was he on the grass for? That may have been
the hairpin. It's the hairpin when entering the East course.
Oh, right, okay.
Madison's Avenue.
Everyone fails at Madison's Avenue.
I have to check that name out. It was the after Madison Avenue, Coppins curve. Was it?
Coppins pitch into the spiral.
No. I think we're right because he's just gone over the start-finish straight now. So I think it was at Ward.
Oh wow!
Just at Ward and roller coaster.
Irony.
Right.
No, it can't be because they're currently coming into that corner complex.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll get the historians on
never
that,
mind.
or some more educated people than we are, and we can just see that the.
It was into the roller coaster.
Was it in the roller coaster?
Yeah, reject, my bad. I'll
Reminds
just
me
shut
of a
up.
Ronan Keating song. Right, okay, so just to recap for you guys, we still have a pretty good battle between Scott and McDonough for the lead. In fact, he must have just got past Yoha Pai.
Actually, Juha has been second place for a few laps now and constantly staying close to him, but currently cannot find a spot for overtaking. Meanwhile, in the GT2's Kimmo Suominen nailed a 6/10 faster lap time than the current leader Eric Vadorf after getting that second spot from John Malia.
And Scott's just going past William Pinar now, so he's just pulled over to the side, and then that's given Johan let him catch up with Scott.
We'll give a nod to Mr. Pinar as well, because earlier today I didn't actually have the password to get on the server, so I had to ask someone, and he kindly told me. So he's the reason I'm here today. Right, okay, so that's all the emotion out of the way, and the battle is just going through the twisty bits between Scott and Juha, and let's have a look at the GT2s. How are Egil and Yao doing? They're still quite close, just about under a second apart. Okay, so we're going to take through the class order at the moment. In first position, Riley Daytona Prototype, Scott McDonald. Second is Juha Pai. Third, Nick Thyssen. Fourth, Huar Espland. Fifth position, David Scott. Sixth is Isto Turunen. And Lassie Brun Hansen is, I believe, still running 2 laps down. In the Corvettes, first position, Farouk Manzar. Second, Egil Sandfield. Third, Yao Cardoso. Fourth position, Ian Rogers. Fifth, Adomas Pakuting Saas. In 6th position, Stefan van Helsingden. 7th, Anders Dahl. 8th, Luc van Schaik. In 9th position, Jonathan Butau. 10th position, Dennis Richard. 11th position, David Garcia. In fact, 11th, 12th and 13th are the Black Rebels of David Garcia, Jose Estrada and Mikael Helen, who have all retired. For GTs, Eric Vadorf is in first position. Second is Kimmo Suurinen. Third position, we saw him slip off the track earlier, Jon Malia. Fourth position is 05 Motorsports, Richard Sobolewski. In fifth position, fourth is Robert Delory. Fifth is Richard Sobolewski. Sixth position, Danny Bose. Seventh position, Jesper Egerbach. Eighth is TFR's Stefan Coppins. Ninth position, William Pinar. 10th position, TFR's Mark Bird. And the retirees currently, in fact, I think Toby Bushnell may still be racing 2 laps down, but Michael Seaver is certainly retired.
We have an interesting situation going on between. We have a battle for P5 and P6 in the Corvette class. P4 and P5, and Howard Espeland in the number 2 car is chasing them both. And this is getting interesting because he's been stuck behind these two for like a half a lap and cannot find him way past them.
Okay, yeah. So good little development happening on our screens then.
Yeah, the DPs around this circuit are going to have the advantage on the race pace over a long run, and I think they'll just eke out over the Corvettes.
Right. Okay. What corner are they coming down now?
Hogs Bend.
The famous Hog Bend. And that leads into the imaginatively titled front straight, and then into Bushnell Kink.
Yeah, which is kind of information that obviously Howard's front end has taken slight damage because of that. He's unable to just keep up with the Corvettes or cope with them.
And it looks like Richard has retired as well from the GT2 class. He was sitting in 6th.
Okay, that's a shame. That's why the 05 Motorsport driver Richard Sobolewski, massive blow for the latest retirement. And that damage on Ewan's car, that's really gonna mess things up for him, really, because he really needs to try and catch up the third position car of Nick Thyssen.
Meanwhile, in the battle for second place in the GT1s, Egil Sandfeld did a slight mistake in the oak tree, went very wide, and he's now followed by Joao Cardoso coming into the at the end of what avenue was it called? I can't remember. Going for overtaking. Actually, he goes very wide, very deep brakes into the hairpin and goes to the outside line, but just manages to keep it in control.
Well, Egil got on grass then, coming out, and Yao just on the inside. They're still side by side, trying to put the power down a little bit early, and the car squirmed as well. So they're still fighting. Egil's in the blue car, and Yao's in the yellow car.
Yeah, you can't get much more deeper braking than Joao Cardoso did right there in the hairpin. He went so wide that he almost had to go full stop in order to get the car to turn in properly. I mean, not a dive bomb or anything, but you cannot brake any later than that.
It looks like that's the corner number 13 coming in from Madison Avenue. It's a pretty popular place to try and pass people at the moment.
Yeah, if you can get a good drive out of the oak tree, it's a nice area to at least try and dive down the inside, and then you're just going into the spiral section, and they can't get past you.
That's a big old oak tree, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a big old oak tree. I've hit that many a time.
It reminds me of Cadwell for some reason.
Yeah.
Which for anyone that's not based on the UK Isles is a certain circuit in England that's a bit famous.
It's the mini Nürburgring of the UK, as they say.
The very mini one. Speaking of which, we'll get to the front of the grid now because we can see Scott McDonald and Juho Paar still nice and close. Lap number 12, just running up through. I believe that's the back of the Shark Straight, they call it. In fact, we've not seen any Shark drivers today. And there wasn't a Shark driver. It's in Madison Avenue as well. So they're very, very close. They're just getting blocked off by Ford GT of Danny Bulls.
And Denise Richards has retired as well.
Dennis Richards? I thought you said Denise Richards then. Okay, that's a terrible blow. Dennis Richards called it a day.
Did Juha get a slowdown for some reason, or did he just drop? Did he just lift because of a downhill or something? Because we're currently on board with him, and I cannot understand why in the middle of the straight he just decided to lift that much.
Maybe he's playing the tactical game.
Yep, you can call that, or maybe he had some magic little gremlin that happened.
Squirrels.
There must be loads. There's loads of trees around here. It's got to be the squirrels. Can't be the penguins. Right. And we haven't got any Shark drivers. I've noticed there's no Shark drivers in today. Dave Geimer, Simon Geimer, they haven't turned up, which is a bit of a blow. They're normally around for most races.
I think they're having a break and coming back strong for the first race next weekend.
Absolutely.
With the TFR Super Cup.
And that's a Watkins Glen, isn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately I'm not going to be able to be here for that one.
And why is that, Mr. David Ward?
Well, I'll be racing at Cadwell in the Time Attack series. I'll be racing the front wheel drive Mini, and hopefully we can come away with a podium result. Fingers crossed.
That's the BMW engine Mini, is it? Not the glorious chariot of English engineering, the Mini.
Yeah, it's that horrible German engineered BMW thing.
Alright, okay then. So we can take a look at, I think we're still in car with number 5 of Juho Pai. Or Juho Pai. Joni, this is a Finnish chap. How would you say his name?
Juha Puu.
Juha Puu.
I knew it.
Poo. Well, actually, I would say poo. Just use the other version.
Oh, this could go all wrong with names like that going into.
Yeah, but no worries. Speaking of, I'm currently looking at some estimates. We're currently on lap 13 in terms of leaders, and we're approaching the end of the first quarter of the race. So we're currently looking at 52 laps for the Rileys in this race, and I think same could be said from the Corvettes, or one lap less. They're not lapping that much slower, especially Farouk Manzar currently 12 seconds in the lead in the Corvettes.
Okay, just looking further back through the GT1s now. Ian Rogers and Adonis are fighting for which position in class is that? That must be 5th position or 4th position in class. Very strongly through Madison and out into Copinswich. And what else have we got going on? John Mallia, wow. He's very much on the grass. He's actually having to reverse because he can't get back on the track because there's a barrier in the way.
He's got big front end damage on the left side.
On the circuit now. The car coming around the corner. Oh, that was close. was the Riley of Nick Thyssen as well. So that's quite advantageous for John having an accident there, because he is literally, that's coming out of hog pen and he's now coming into the pits. Now that's going to be a big old repair bill.
That is definitely going to be a big repair bill, and Tabury Bushnell has unacceptable levels again. So he'll
John
be...
Malia is playing into the pits right now.
Yeah,
Heavily damaged.
as we saw earlier. And yes, Toby has. He's been very unacceptable all day. He's been dropping from the server quite a lot, and I think John's called it a day.
That's a shame for John. He was doing quite well. We had a couple of offs though, but there's renowned for that. If you go off, it becomes a nice rink, and you go sliding into the barrier.
So John's attention now falls to next Saturday, where he's going to start the TFR Super Cup. And we can see that. Oh, in fact, yes, he has. He just joined the TFR team, isn't he? So we're just watching Kimmo Sirinen now. He's trying to catch down Eric Vadorf, currently 4 seconds behind.
Yeah, currently doing an excellent job. Caught almost 0.8 of a second in the last lap, and on the start and finish line, their gap was 3.9 seconds. It's now currently 2.5 seconds.
Right. What other battles can we see? Jalkardos, Egil Sandelin, just about 2.5 seconds between these two guys now. Ian Rogers is still quite close to Adamus in 4th position.
And Scott's being followed closely by Pooh.
Don't use that term, please.
No, I believe
he's not Pooh. He's in 2nd place. You can't be Pooh.
No, you're absolutely right. And I believe most Finnish chaps conscripted into the army when they leave school, aren't they? Am I right with that?
I guess.
Right, okay, so he knows how to fire a gun. So, just 0.6 seconds separates these two guys now. And we've got about another 6 minutes left until David's prediction of the pit stops starts to happen. And I think we're following the 4th position in-class battle of David Ward now.
Oh, Johan's gone off, so we need to find out what happened there.
Just drop back 4 seconds. Typical. The moment our focus takes away from the 2nd place and the 1st place battle, he goes off.
P4 battle of the Corvettes just cannot get themselves separated. Still, Ian Rogers in the 29 car and Adomas Pakutinskas and in 5th spot, still fighting out.
Yeah, he went off on the hairpin just after Madison Avenue.
Number 13. Okay, I was watching him just a little bit before then. I didn't notice him go off.
No, sorry, that was Johan who was following Scott.
Ah, right. Okay.
And within a lap, I think we can set our focus back to 51 car of Kimmo Suominen, because he's now only 1.5 seconds behind Eric Vadorf. His last lap was 2 seconds faster than Eric's.
Okay, so we expected Kimmo to come through the field, and it's finally it was very, very close to fruition now.
Yeah, actually, Kimmo just nailed his personal fastest lap, and including the fastest lap of the race in terms of GT2s, 2:28.058, whereas Eric Vador's fastest lap time of the race so far is 2:28.683. So he improved that the fastest lap of the race by 0.6 of a second in that last lap.
Okay. Currently 41 minutes into the race. Looks like the leaders have completed 15 laps. We're watching Kimmo Sirinen as he's trying to catch up the leader in class, Eric Vadorf.
I don't think we're watching just now, or slight delay in the transfer in the cameras. I think we should be right about now.
Okay, so we can see the Glacier liveried 4GT of Kimmo Sirinen now, and he's very, very, very close to Eric Vadorf.
Yeah, Kimmo
Going in
seems to
car.
catch him excellent. Much better in the current section, the inner half a lap, should we say? Other than the start and finish line section, he seems to be pretty equal. But in this section, you can see it like you can visibly see him closing the gap, especially going through the oak tree and the next hairpin. His car seems to be handling much better in the tight sections.
And we just saw him there just go up through the climbing S's into Vadorf, through the left-hander of South Bend, into McGurk, and then very, very slowly down a couple of gears, chuck it right, and you see the screen go dark because you're going under the oak tree, corner number 10. We now see them scream along the straight into Madison Avenue now, into corner number 13. We're just about to go into the lovely named Quinn's Bitch, and then we're going to go down into the spiral, which you can just see bottoms out just then. And it's a bit of a leap of faith, that corner. Very close now to Eric. So we know that when Kimmo's pushing, he's got about 2 seconds a lap up on Eric. So this should be interesting to see how soon he goes for the pass. Or if he's just going to sit behind, really close, and see how Eric takes certain corners, and then just sees if he's going to be able to capitalise from that in a few laps' time. And are they just running through the glaciers now, are they? Down the right-hander for Hog Pen.
Yeah, down onto
coming
the
to
start finish straight.
Right. Yeah. So currently results in the screen, so we can go through them locally as well. So currently in the Riley class, you have Scott McDonald still leading the way by actually now up 3 seconds, a gap between him and Juha Puu in second place. And actually, Juha Puu has taken the lead right now. Is Scott pitting? Can't see Scott in the telemetry. Yeah, Scott is pitting right now.
No. Scott must have had enough somewhere, because he's on the start and finish straight at the moment.
Oh yeah, now he's back in about 10 seconds behind Juha. So
big off.
Yeah, he had a big off going through glacier curves.
So anyway, Scott McDonald still in second place, even though that despite that big off. Nick Thiessen in third place, Håvard Espeland in fourth place, David Scott fifth place, Issa Chihonen in sixth place. Rob, you want to go through the vets?
Of course I will. Farouk Manzar leads out Yao Cardoso. Egil Sandfield is in third. Fourth position, who's just got past Ian Rogers, is Adamus Pakutinskas. In fifth position now, Ian Rogers, TFR. Driver of Ian Rogers. Luke Van Schaik is in sixth position. Jonathan Botow is in seventh. Stefan Van Helsingen 3 laps down. So it looks like Stefan's had a bit of drama as well. And the retirees currently Danis Ricard, Anders Dahl, we didn't see go. David Garcia, Jose Estrada, and Mikael Helen. GT2s. Right. GT2s, Eric Vadorf in the lead. We were watching Kimmo Surunen, who's right up behind Eric. Third position, Robert Laurie. Fourth, Danny Bulls. In fifth position, Jasper Egbach. Sixth position, Stefan Coppins. Seventh, Mark Bird. Eighth position, William Pinar. Ninth position is the first retiree, John Malia. Toby Bushnell is still lapping 5 laps down. Richard Sobolewski has retired.
We got an off.
William Pinar. That was William Pinar exiting the S's backwards. And we'll just see if he's got any damage. Looks like he's back on the circuit in one piece. He's got he's got big damage on his rear actually. And he's off again. Terrible blow for William, who's been lapping quite steadily at the back of the GTs, the GT2s.
Toby's lost connection again, and he hasn't reconnected, so I think he's done.
Well, William spun right in front of Joshua and Kimmo as well, so he could have taken out the leader of the GT2s, and he just wisely thought just to get out of the way.
Yeah, and he actually backed off heavily into that tire barrier. Less would have been enough, and actually after that he decided to switch to motocross.
Johan is making his way through the GT2 leaders who are battling quite hard, so he's split them a little bit. This will give chance for Scott to catch up after his off.
Okay. and the leader of the Riley Daytona prototypes on the screen now.
If he gets stuck going into the S's, which he will, he's going to lose a lot of time now because he won't be able to get him until the oak tree. And then this is going to let Scott catch them up because he'll catch him just at the oak tree and pass them at Madison's.
Okay, so let's just see if this develops as planned. Now this is really where we need Joha to just get the acceleration done. He's gonna pass them right into Madison now and into corner number 13.
Oh, this is really going to hurt Scott because he's not going to be able to get him now, and he'll be stuck all the way through up until Hog Pen.
Okay, so currently the gap was 7.4 seconds last time round the start-finish straight. So we're going to see what that gap turns out to be when they go over start-finish. You see the battle for GT2 is very close now. Eric Radoff and Kimmo have closed right up. However, behind Kimmo is Scott McDonald in the Riley as well. So that fight won't become immediate. We saw in the last round of the final round, in fact, the TFR Super Cup, that Kimmo could literally spend all race right up behind a Ford GT and not lose him. So he's a very, very capable driver as our Kimmo.
Yeah, they're currently approaching the glacier curves right now, and looks like Kimmo is potentially close enough to get a good run on the main straightaway if he gets a good exit right at this last corner right here.
Yeah, Scott's right behind him. He needs to clear these two guys, otherwise he's going to be stuck behind him again, going through.
Yeah, actually now Kimmo
Horseshoe.
might actually have a chance to bypass Eric Vadorf right now. If the Riley goes to the inside, Kimmo can actually follow him through. As we can see right here, is Kimmo going to dive to the inside because the door is open? Nope. He didn't have enough time.
I didn't think they'll be able to manage 3 wide on the start-finish straight, but Isto Thiranen was actually stationary on the start-finish straight, and they were catching up pretty quick then. They just avoided him. I don't know how much of his car was on the grass. Okay,
Well,
so Kimmo now right up behind the green 40T of Eric Radoff.
I don't think I've ever seen Kimmo make an aggressive pass for position. He seems to just sit and pressurise the driver into a mistake, which doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, he seems to be pretty patient, even though how much faster he might be, he always takes almost a zero risk in terms of overtaking. So not a bad thing for a driver, but yeah, I mean he has so much more pace it seems to have than Eric all the way until he caught him. That I'm interested. I'm surprised that he's not going for an overtaking maneuver more aggressively, because he could actually pull quite a gap even before the first round of pit stops.
Well, we've certainly seen through the TFR Super Cup season that he's quite a quiet little chap. So we've certainly not seen him have to really sort of make aggressive passes as well, because as you say, he does seem to pressure people into mistakes, unless the drivers of John Mallier, who seems to be just as good as Kimmo, not making mistakes.
Yeah, that last race in Roadlands was they were basically hot lapping right in each other's tail, and I mean, yeah, it was a good fight, but there would have been far more overtaking opportunities than these guys actually showed us. But
right, okay, the Rileys when the leaders of the Rileys, when they went through the leaders of the GT2s, the gap was about 7.9 seconds. It's now down to 4.7 seconds. So that certainly helped out Scott.
Yeah, the passing through the traffic's definitely helped out Scott a lot there.
on the leader battling for GT2 leaders. There was a change in the third spot in the Corvette series. The Adomas Pakatinskas found his way past Ian Rogers, so he's now up into third.
Okay then, so looks like Adamus is making an excellent charge through the field. It's just in fact who are in front of him in his Riley Daytona prototype. And the battle for GT2s is as you were pretty much. See now that the
Nick Thurston's coming through to let the GT2s, so again he's going to split them up. This is going to give Eric a bit more breathing space. Oh, he's decided to wait.
he decided to chicken out. Probably the best place to do it, to make a pass, coming into Madison Avenue, just when you've got the run on the engine and just coming towards the end of the little short straight.
Yeah, I don't think he wanted to get involved in this battle that those guys are in, so he's so far behind the leaders anyway.
Okay, so apologies to any viewers for a momentary loss of stream. A bit of a network issues in the Penguin Towers. They're all back and live with you now, so now's probably a pretty good time. I would take you through all the standings, but we are watching a cracking race between Kimmo Suhonen and the leader of the GT2s, which is Eric Vadorf at the moment, so don't want to put any kind of commentator's curse on this.
Yeah, and besides it seems to be the only battle currently on track.
Oh, Scott is catching up. Jan, the gap's down to 3.8 seconds now, so we need to keep an eye on that.
Okay, so if you're wondering what that garishly coloured prototype style vehicle is that's coming through now, that's the third position of Nick Thyssen in the Riley Daytona prototype. So we can see Kimmo's on the inside now, into the horseshoe, and now we're entering the Peterson Bend. So the pass for first position in GT2s was taken by Kimmo Suhonen, and now we need to see what kind of response Eric Vadorf can give, because we know that Kimmo is about 2 seconds a lap faster.
Yeah, and again, Kimmo just exploited that tactic when I was talking about it at the last time when Riley went just past him. He just capitalized on the hole that Eric was leaving for the Riley.
Yeah, in multi-class racing, it's all very important just to close the gap once the other class car has gone through. So you don't just leave the window open for other people just to nip under and capitalise, and that's exactly what Kimmo did.
Indeed, that was perfectly executed and a good job. And Eric is not giving up though. He's going to the oak tree. He's trying to close the gap in straights. And let's see if when the first time that he's the underdog going into the tight intersection, let's see if he's able to keep up with Kimmo.
And sometimes this can be an opportunity as well. If you know that someone's a lot faster than you, you can really see where they catch the speed. If it's set up, or if it's lines around the track, or if it's just bravery through the high speed twisty bits. And the last lap from Scott McDonald was a 2:20.8. The last lap from Yuha Pai was a 2:21.7 as well. So that shows you how fast, just under a second, a lap difference between these guys. So 3.8 seconds was the last gap we saw. Just going over start finish straight now. And what's that gap down to? 3.1. Okay, Jon Mali has finally called it a day. Isto Turunen has called it a day as well. Toby Bushnell, as we saw, has called it a day.
Yeah, a lot of retirements in this race. 13, in fact. 13 retirees in this race, and that's quite a long list considering we have 21 cars still on the track, with 13 cars DNFs. So almost half a field being DNF'd even before the first round of pit stops. We're almost halfway through the race.
That's it, almost halfway through the race. This is an extremely difficult combination.
Very difficult.
The gap between Johan and Scott is down to 3.1 seconds now, so he's closing in steadily, and he might get him just at the pit stops.
And they are literally still he is still a second faster than Yuha as well. So, and when do you think the pit stops are going to be this time, David?
Let's see, within the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, I would say that most of the GTs are gonna have to pit in this lap or the next.
Right. Okay. So we're going to see a flurry into the pits. Brought to you by an early Johnny technical interlude there, because he knows all about these cars. This is Yuha
Yeah, I
Pai.
know all about these cars, but I haven't got the slightest idea about this racetrack. I'm just looking at the calendar. I mean, if these cars are able to run 62 minutes in this racetrack, I'd be surprised, because there's so many long straightaways. Even though we have tight sections with not that much throttling going on, but we have the 2 or 3 long straightaways here that tend to consume more fuel, I would say, than Laguna Seca. And in Laguna Seca, the 60-minute marker is very close to hard to reach with these cars. So I'd be amazed if they can go 62 minutes.
The leaders are currently lapping Jonathan Butau in his Corvette. Now, I was under the impression...
the rally number 2 is pitting. Seems to be a scheduled pit stop.
Okay, so Huar Esplan is in the pits. He's in 12th position overall, but in his class, he's down in 5th position.
Yeah, Scott's just taken out another second. He's now 6 tenths out of him, so he's now 2.6 seconds behind Jan.
Yeah, so slight apologies for the. There might be some occasional splits, or as by the way, Kimmo Suominen and Erik Vedorf are both heading into the pits, just as I assumed. But there might be some connection losses in the video stream right now, which is not up to us. It's mainly up to the ISP's internet issues. So our apologies, but we're trying to get the full post-race video file, 2 hours of post-race video compiled into one big piece. So our apologies.
Okay, so Kimmo Suominen and Erik Vedorf are still in the pits. We may be seeing a race from pit lane. See that Kimmo's right up behind Erik in the pits, and
Erik is first. Decided to take a shorter stint. Meanwhile, I think Kimmo went for a full tank of fuel.
That's it. Did he go for a short stint to get ahead of him, and then? But with Kimmo's pace, it's not as if he's not going to be able to get past him.
My guess would be that he just took a shorter stint.
Well, Erik certainly went out into a busy set of traffic there, as we see Ian Rogers just go a little bit wide into Horseshoe and into Peterson as well. He's holding Kim up a little bit because Kimmo's obviously running a lot more faster, but now it's very interesting because Erik literally came out in between three or four Corvettes there.
Scott's catching Jan hand over fist.
2.6 seconds is the gap.
Now, are they going to come and pit this time round?
Scott McDonald caught 6/10 out of Juha Pyy's lead at the last lap.
I think it's going to be less now, isn't it? Because I have just
it's going to be way less.
1.9
seconds. Oh, this is shaping up to be a lovely little race here.
Yeah, previous lap 7/10 faster than the Juha was, so Scott is really on a charge.
The battle in the GT1s is about 10 seconds between Farouk Manzar, pretty much the man at the moment, and Yao Cardozo.
Yeah, I think Farouk's just he's pretty much got this one in the bag. He just needs to turn over the laps and bring it home.
And looks like Kimmo needs to do this again now, because Erik Vedorf's holding up the Riley of Lasse Brun Hansen, who we thought actually had retired, but he's back on the track now, and also Ian Rogers as well. So those two guys got to get past him. That's going to give Kimmo the opportunity to catch up as well, but he's not going to be able to get as close to Erik as he would like at the moment.
Yeah, meanwhile, Juha Pai has lost all of his lead because of one Ford GT. I think it was Robert Lowry holding him back for almost a quarter of a lap, and now Scott's right in the real tailpipe of Juha here.
Is this behind Eric? Is that classed as a trolley train?
Ah, good shout. Yes. Glacier TV Bingo Trilly Train. Right, very done. That's been done that as well. We need to just get a pink and brown gag out, and I think we're full house, aren't we? So we're watching a battle between Yuha Pai and Scott McDonald now. That's got to be down to about a second.
Ian Rogers has just come into the pits.
Yeah, it's less than a second right now. Even though, I mean, the real time, yeah, it's approximately 7/10 to 1 second, depending on what section of the track they are. But yeah, that's getting close.
Yeah, Scott just made a mistake going through the Sumanin curb, and yeah, he's just rode the curbs a little bit too hard.
And by the way, the current number 3 car of GT2s, Danny Bowes, is the only GT2 that has not pitted. So he seems to be on the fuel conservation mode, and
he's rolling in now.
Into the pits.
Yeah,
so technically you are right.
I was saying that he's able to do one pit stop. So my initial guess that they're going to need a splash and dash was invalid, because these cars seems to be able to handle this race with a one stop.
And Scott's into the pits as well. So after his little off, he's decided it'd be better to come and get some fuel and see if he can get out.
And Scott McDonough in the pits. Scott McDonough in the pits.
Okay,
so Yuha Pai the only leader right now.
We'll also see William Brown in the pits as well.
Johan needs to pit next one because Scott's going to have fresh tyres on, and he's going to be hunting him down.
Okay, well, Yuha's just gone under the bridge in a moment, and he's, I believe actually, he's just going through the climb and S's.
Yep, it's just Yuha is just approaching the oak tree right here, where camera is going to stick to the car of Scott McDonough, who is right behind Yuha there, and we'll see how fast the outlap of Scott McDonough is compared to when Yuha comes into the pits. Might actually be close if these cars have the same curves than GT1s and the GT2s, meaning that the outlap is way faster than with the old tires, and this could get interesting.
Yeah, first lap on the new tyres. First 2 laps, you're going to be a good half second, 7/10 quicker easily.
So Yuha is currently in the intersection, going downhill, left, right, and then even the steeper left here, right here, then hard on the throttle, and short distance, and then we're going through another SS of corners and a pretty tricky inner complex here. And what do you think, David? Is it would you miss this combination? I mean, do you miss this combination or the track layout in any class? I mean, I personally miss this, especially with the Mazdas. This layout is a blast.
I've never driven this layout. We've always gone from where Madison Avenue is all the way up to the back straight and then into Ward and the roller coaster. So after the oak tree, you pretty much flat out all the way up. But yeah, I've never driven the twisty section.
And Yuha Pai still does not pit. He just ran right through his pit box. I mean,
I think
past the pit lane.
That's a mistake, because this is going to give Scott an advantage.
Yeah, unless Scott makes a mistake, but yeah, I agree. That was a dumb move.
Yeah,
he does have a faster outlap, but that's not going to do any good if he gets stuck behind Scott.
It depends. Has Johan got any traffic ahead of him? Not really.
Meanwhile, Kimmo Suominen, by the way, caught Eric Vidorf. He's only 0.4 of a second behind, 1.4 seconds faster on that last lap.
Oh, wow. Yeah, he's right behind him now. They're going just up to Madison Avenue.
Also, big fight developing. Yuha and Scott McDonald, these guys both have masses of clean air between them now. And the next guy they're going to cut smart, but we're going to focus, I think, on the Kimmo battle.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to focus on, because he caught with a guy that seemed to take less fuel, and if that's the case, then Kimmo is going to ride into the sunset if he gets past Eric right here, because Eric is surely going to have a 2-3 seconds slower pit stop next time by. I mean, all Kimmo has to do in that case is to just stick behind him right here, and as Eric pits, he can just fly right by. I mean, if both guys did a full tank of fuel, and for some reason Kimmo's pit stop was just a few seconds extra, then it's a different story.
Yeah, may have been a bit of damage. May have been an adjustment, or he may have just missed the box. Either way, Toby Bushnell has reconnected for another go. It looks like he had further connection problems.
By the way, guys, I just figured out Juha Pai, the reason why he's not coming into the pits. He is going to do this race with a one stop.
That's a brave choice.
Oh wow!
We're if my calculation is correct, and they are able to do this in 52 laps. We're currently at the end of lap 26, and if he pits this time by, it's exactly the midway point.
And he has not to pit.
He does
No
not pit.
pitted again. Oh my god!
So
he must be running on
this.
fumes.
Yeah, he is. And I hope he doesn't do the famous Max Del Orco tactics and running out of fuel in the last lap. But, yeah, I mean, if he's able to nail that one, then Scott is in a serious world of trouble trying to catch Juha again, because even though he loses, Juha loses time here, Scott, if Scott has to just drive through the pits and take a splash and dash, that's going to cost him a lot of time. Meanwhile, we have one Eagle Sandfield in the grass.
So what we just saw then was Egil Sandfield and GT2s just make a mistake just in front of Juha Pai, the leader of the race.
Yeah, we can just stick to this battle with the GT2s, and but we will keep you informed what's happening on the other side, outside of the cameras. Nothing dramatic happening, but anyway, good to be informed.
Yeah, Scott's taking
Meanwhile, we have an off track. Juha Pai goes off track. Juha Pai in the 5 car goes off track in the oak tree. That's going to cost him a lot.
Did he get any damage, or was it just a
run
off?
No,
behind him
he
as
didn't
well?
take any damage. He didn't clip anything. It was just went too wide under braking. Didn't get the car to turn in. Didn't touch the apex, and that grass is slippery. 5 miles per hour more speed, and that would have been a gone.
Soon
we're going to watch a replay of it now.
Accelerating.
We're going to watch a replay of you going off track now, but also the next guy around that corner, Adamus Pakuskas, it also went off as well. Didn't touch the wall, so big incident from you, and I think that will just force him to come in the pits a little bit early now.
Yeah, hopefully well, it might be about this time already, because he seems to be car's got to be running on fumes by now.
Yeah, by the way, David, how would you rank that oak tree corner personally amongst all the corners you have in iRacing? What would be your personal rank?
I got to rank it in my top 5 of corners, just because as you go into it, you can attack it really, really hard, and you've got to get a good drive out of it. It's a fantastic corner.
Yeah,
is it like
it's also fantastic in terms of screwing it up, because all you have to do is make an inch of mistake, and then you go into the tires. No room for errors.
It's a driver's corner. He's gone past the pits again. He's still going.
Yeah, unbelievable. Meanwhile, Kimmo still cannot find a way past Eric, but what do you think? It's well, they pitted about just over the halfway mark, so I would think it would be a stupid move from Eric to not to take a full tank of fuel, but yeah, I'm surprised to how was Kimmo's pit stop that much longer. I mean, there is a random factor involved, so you can have a long pit stop even though you would not have any problems. It's it would be a sad thing to happen in a position like that.
Scott, Johan didn't lose that much time, really. A couple of seconds. Scott's 32 seconds behind now, but I think Johan's got this because he's going to be on lighter fuel with fresher tyres when he comes into the pits, and that's going to give him the advantage.
If Scott has to do the second pit stop and Juha is able to survive with one, I'd say this is a wrap.
Even if Scott doesn't do a splash and dash, Johan's got it, I think. Especially in the DPs, because the fuel in the DPs, you gain so much time from having less fuel in the car. But Nick's not that far behind Scott now.
Well, that's seconds last time out between second and third position.
Yeah, 1.8 seconds. Nick caught Scott last time by. Not sure if Scott was dealing with the traffic, but anyway.
Egil Sandfeld did a big twitch in front of Joha Pai coming back onto, I think it was in Ward Corner.
28th lap coming to a closure from Juha Pai. I wonder if he's going to beat this time by. No!
No, pitting.
He still is not pitting. What?
Does he know he needs to pit?
I don't know, but no, I mean, we're like 1 hour and 13 minutes into this race and still Juha has not pitted. I mean, is he running on like a shuttle fuel tank or what?
He's running on fresh air and hopes by the look of it.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure. I haven't actually driven a Riley for a single lap in iRacing, but I wonder if driving close to a guy in the straightaways and just lifting off slightly on purposely, I wonder how much fuel that's able to save you if you do that for like 20 laps.
I don't think that's going to give you enough. He's just I don't know how he's doing it, but he's doing it. Scott's closed in 2 seconds now, so he's 30 seconds behind. But that's still enough for a pit stop.
So there you have it from our only Riley driver in the field, Jarno, doing the camera work tonight, by the way. So to round up your leaders, Juha Pai still in the lead and still has not pitted in the Riley. Scott McDonald still in second, Nick Thiessen in third, David Scott in fourth place right now, Håvard Espeland in fifth, and Lasse Brun Hansen in sixth, the last remaining Riley in the race. Currently in the Corvette class, Ferg Manzar leading, Joe Cardoso second, missed that name again, Egil Sandfeld in third, Adomas Pakitinkas in fourth, Ian Rogers fifth, Jonathan Buttel sixth. And then the rest of the Corvettes have all DNF'd, a lot of DNFs in this race, and meanwhile the last class, but not the least competitive class, Eric Vador still leading by a fraction over Kimmo Suominen in second, Robert Laurie in third, David Bowes in fourth, Jesper Igebak in fifth, Mark Bird sixth, Willem Pienaar seventh, Toby Bushnell, the last running GT2 car, in eighth.
Juha Pai just gone past the pits again. This is crazy.
Yeah, I wonder if Scott just estimated wrong the got tactics from other people, or then his personal fuel consumption was just not enough for one-stop strategy. Meanwhile, having said that, Nick Thiessen is also a non-pitter at this time by. Nick Thiessen has not pitted. The only, actually, yeah, Nick Thiessen and Juha Pai both does not have pitted.
This is going to hurt Scott if he's gone for a 3-stop strategy.
Okay guys, I've got some information. We've had 3 retirees since. Stefan Coppens from 5th position GT2's retired, Luc van Schout from 7th position GT1 has retired, and Stefan van Helsenden from 8th position GT1's retired as well. So dropping like flies still.
Yeah, lots and lots of retirees right now. 14 in total, 20 remaining in the race.
And 1 hour 16 through, I think we are.
And Kimmo still cannot find a way past Eric.
Okay, one more thing as well. I would just like to point as well is it's 1 hour 16 through, and the leaders Joha and Scott have just lapped the 5th place vehicle. So I know it's quite a long lap, but that's still an amazing feat. We are quite a long way through the race, and Egil Sandfeld, who's 3rd in GT1s, has just been lapped once.
David, what do you think? Juha and Nick are both gonna run on fumes, and they both pit the exact same lap.
Yeah, I think so. They're both going to come in. I don't even want to guess what laps are coming in now. I've got it wrong all the time.
They're the only running guys without pit stop at the moment.
That's crazy. I've never seen this.
Yeah, 30th lap out of 52, according to my calculations. Initial calculations. Way more than halfway through the race, and let's see if he's going to pit this time by. He has to pit. No, he's still not pit. He just refuses to come in the pits.
Yeah, this is crazy.
31 laps. He only has 21 laps remaining. He has done 2/3 of the race with one full tank of fuel. I never knew that that the Riley. After the last build, I'm not sure if they changed anything. They changed quite a bit of things in the different cars, but not sure if they changed the Rileys. I mean, they changed at least one or two cars. They changed the mid-range torque of the engines, and that surely is going to have its effect on the fuel consumption. But I'm not sure if they did that on Riley.
No, they didn't do it on the Riley.
Yeah, they might have just did it on the Williams and the HPD.
Scott's now 26 seconds behind. He's gaining on him, but Juha's he's gonna have fresh tyres and lower fuel. He's gonna be a rocket when he comes back out.
Yeah, he's losing 1.3 seconds a lap, but it's still 19 seconds, and there's no way Scott McDonough is able to survive without extra pit stop, unless he took a full tank of fuel this time by.
Well,
but anyway, Juha is going to need a splash.
Well, Juha Pai is catching up with Kimmo and Eric, who are still nose to tail. So maybe this is an opportunity, instead of having to push through these two guys and lose time like he did before to Scott, he will just come in the pits just before then.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. It's like, don't try and fight your way through that traffic, just come in.
Yeah, actually in front of Kimmo, watching Kim fight battle with Kimmo and Eric right down in the front of them, Corvette went wide. It was a Jonathan Boutel in the 10th place overall, in the 6th place in the Corvette, just went wide. Actually the Suominen turn, named after Will Winston of course, just went wide in the Suominen turn, and Eric and Kimmo did not catch him, nor did they capitalize on him, but that was actually a good thing because the Corvette is so much faster than them. Meanwhile, Juha Pai is now right in the tail of Kimmo Suominen. I wonder if he's going to pit now or...
Yes, he is. He's coming in.
Yeah, surely he is, yep.
Right,
Juha
okay,
Pai
so
into the pits this time by.
that's leader of the race in the pits as well. Nick Thiessen, who's the other Riley that hasn't pitted. We're going to see if he comes in the pits as well, but that's
Yes,
31st lap.
Yeah, so we could now focus on the camera on Scott McDonough in the 67 car, while Juha Pai is in the pits, so we can have a comparison in how these guys are doing. So if Jarno would be kind enough for us to switch to the 67 car.
Scott McDonald now is just going to have start finish straight. Juha Pai is still very much in the pits.
Yep.
I see Brunnen has retired as well.
And Kimmo has got past Eric Vadoff, first position in the GT2s.
Yep,
and that was
typical move in turn 1, I believe.
Yeah, side by side, just entering Horseshoe, and then got it sorted out through Peace and then into NASCAR Bend. Why is there a corner called NASCAR Bend?
You need to speak to
And
Will.
actually, Juha Pai's pit stop was only 2.7 seconds longer than Scott McDonough. Scott McDonough did 16.8 seconds. Juha Pai did 19.5, and now Nick Thiessen in the third spot in the Rileys is now also in the pits, and he did 17.6 seconds. So Juha Pai's pit stop was surprisingly long.
You might be able to catch him. Juha might be able to catch Scott.
There can't be a lot of damage from that off at the oak tree earlier.
No, I don't think so, because he didn't touch anything.
Yeah, but Scott's coming up to traffic, coming into Madison's and through that twisty section, so he might get caught up behind here, and it's going to give Juha a chance.
Okay, so Scott McDonald's just coming up to David Scott, which is one of the other Riley drivers as well. Goes, oh, very, very late. And he's on the grass, Mr. Scott.
He's catching Ian Rogers, but I don't think Ian's going to be moving out of his way. too quickly. He's got his own race.
But they're just going through the combinations: Manzar, Rogers, Helsingden, Krupp, and Ward combination of corners into the roller coaster, down into Glacier Curves.
Yeah, by the way, before Scott McDonald went to the pits, Juha Pai and Scott McDonald were right in the after each other. But now, after Juha finally did his pit stop, the gap is up to 18.2 seconds. So if Scott McDonald is able to ride through the finish with that amount of fuel, then Scott McDonald pretty much has this in the bag.
I think it's going to be a pretty big gap from Juha. He's just coming through Hogspan now.
Pretty
Start
much
finish.
the whole start and finish straight. He's got.
And that's 20 seconds. Wow. What a game changer that is.
There's still chance maybe Scott might have to do another pit stop, who knows.
Yeah, Scott is being held up currently by one Corvette. I'm not sure who it is. It's Adamas Pagutinskas, I believe. Yep. Holding him back, approaching the Oak Tree corner right through the downhill left-hander right here, and the heavy brakes into the Oak Tree.
The reason that is because Ian Rogers is right behind him, and they're going to be battling for position. So he doesn't want to let Scott pass on the straights.
Yep. And there's no way that he's able to get past on the straights because Corvette is such a fast car on the straights. But during braking, he is able to dive in as he does right here into the hairpin.
Yep, give him room, tuck him under into corner number 14, Cobbins Beach.
Meanwhile, Ian Rogers behind them goes wide into the hairpin after Madison Avenue.
And now he's backed up David Scott in the Riley as well. So no damage from Ian Rogers, but just like lost concentration.
When did Chemo get ahead of Eric?
In the turn 1, right as Juha Pai went in the pits.
Yeah, a few lap goes. Say pretty much just exactly the same time as they were in the pits.
Oh yeah, all the action was going off.
Always
surprise,
does.
surprise! Immediately 9 tenths faster in that first alone lap.
So what we saw then is we've seen Kimmo pretty much the entire race trying to catch up the leader, Eric Vadoff. They came into the pits. Eric had a shorter pit stop, came out ahead, quite a little ahead of Kimmo as well. So Kimmo had to do it all over again. This time I believe he was a little bit more aggressive getting past.
Yeah, this time Eric improves his pace quite a bit, only 2 tenths slower than Kimmo's last lap, to 2:28.9 versus 2:29.1. So very equal lap times for both guys in that time by. So Eric is not giving up.
Right, do we have any more battles going on at the moment?
The only battle I can see is inter-class battle between Ian Rogers and David Scott for the 5th position Corvette and the 4th place Riley.
Well, that's
has just taken out 3 seconds, so now he's 17 seconds behind Scott, and that was most likely down to the traffic, but still, need to have a look at the lap times.
There was
we could
126.
we could go in car with Juha Pai if Jarno is kind enough to provide us in-car footage of Juha Pai in the 5 car.
Yeah, Scott did a 2:23 and Juha did a 2:20 flat, so we need to keep an eye on that, and maybe my prediction of the low fuel new tyres is coming true.
Well, that's a 7 lap slow from Scott, because he's been doing 21s, 20s, 19s, 21s and another 21 pretty consistently really, so something must have happened then to really sort of slow his pace down.
So we're just about approaching the end of 3 quarters in this race. Rob, you want to go through the order?
I shall put my pronunciation teeth back in. Scott McDonald leads the Rileys. Juha Pai is 2nd position, Nick Thies in 3rd, David Scott in 4th, and Hauer Esbland in 5th. Lassie Brunhausen and Isso Tillman are your retirees. In the GT1s, Fruit Manzar 1st position, Yao Cardoso 2nd, Egil Sandfield 3rd, Adamas Pakutiski. Oh, in fact, we've just seen Jonathan Bootle has just gone off as well. That's completely lost. He will lose position there. Ian Rogers 5th position. Jonathan Boodle is currently in 6th position. 7th, Luke Van Schick, who has actually retired. So it looks like Jonathan's quite safe at the back of the GT1 pack there. Stefan Van Helsen has also retired. Dennis Richard, Anders Dahl, David Garcia, Jose Estrada, and Mikhail Helen. The rest of the retirees, 4 GTs. Kim O'Sullivan in 1st position. Eric Vadel 2nd. Robert Laurie 3rd. Danny Booth 4th. Jesper Egerbach is in 5th position. Mark Bird 6th. Stefan Coppens is the first retiree, 7th position. The rest of the retirees, William Pinar. I think William Pinar's still going actually. Toby Bushnell is also still going, but he's 16 laps down. John Mallion has retired. Richard Sobolewski's retired. Michael C. West has retired. Jasper Grumick and Russell Cleason have also retired. Right.
So the last time by Scott McDonald, Juha Pai, identical lap times, only 600ths of a second separated by, and Scott being the faster of those two.
Scott's just got his nose ahead of Eric Vadel
is
as well.
Scott still going to need a splash and dash?
Are you predicting that he's going to have to stop again?
Yeah, I said that because Nick Thiessen stopped at the lap 30 out of 52, and he took a 17.6 second pit stop. Scott McDonald pitted at lap 20. Have to check that one out, but anyway, way before the halfway point, and his stop was 0.8 faster than Nick Thiessen's stop, so he took less fuel according to that.
Maybe Scott might be able to do the long run that Juha Pai did just now.
Yeah, might, but that would mean that he took an early pit stop because his tires were going off, and he just decided to take a full tank when he started with a full tank. That would be the only option. And by the way, just to say, out of a 24, sorry, my bad. Yeah, I was having a look at the qualifying times, and out of a 24 attempts, the majority of the drivers only nailed 10 laps without off tracks. that's a pretty funny aspect.
Well, I'm not really surprised by that. Also, the Talk Freak Racing guys will run a stewards report after this as well. Certainly, if anyone protests an incident, it will be investigated. But also, if there are any large amounts of incidents where you're off track and all that sort of stuff, that may well be investigated as well. I don't think they're as strict as they are in a normal season, because obviously it's the fun week, but they still do like to take a little bit of notice to keep the driving standards up.
Yeah, by the way, Scott McDonald pitted on lap 24, at the end of lap 24. So before the halfway point, and his stop was faster than Nick Thiessen, who stopped in lap 31, at the end of lap 30, sorry. So my personal guess is that Scott McDonald is not going to survive without a splash and dash.
Well,
So
it's not going to matter anyway, because Juha Pai is now 16 seconds behind, just taking out another 2 seconds.
1.5 seconds, yeah.
We're predicting a stop and go for Scott, and I've seen a car in the forefront as well from Juha.
I don't know whether he is going to have a stop. I think he's going to try and go to the end. If he does, this race is Juha's. But we don't know what the fuel levels were at the start.
Right, who wants to take a wild stab at how many drivers are still currently lapping?
Should we say
18.
17? 16.
18. I'm currently looking at the telemetry, it shows 18.
16.
You are. 18. You don't bring tools to a guessing game. Right. 16.066. Last lap from Scott McDonald was a 2:22.3, and Juha was a 2:20.8. But I believe Scott's just going through a little bit of traffic at the minute.
Yeah, Juha got caught up.
Sandfield.
Yeah, Juha had a bit of an off as well, going down towards the oak tree. But he's alright.
We've not seen a lot of inter-class ding-dongs. I thought we'd be seeing quite a lot, to be honest, but we've not seen that many
Yeah,
today.
me too. Actually, I think we've yet to see interclass collision. In fact, we haven't seen any collisions.
No,
Which
driving.
is quite surprising. I mean, 2 hours. We were 1 hour 32 minutes into this race, and zero crashes, which is quite surprising. Astonishing, I should say.
Yeah, it's great driving from more of the guys here.
And Toby Bushell has disconnected again.
Meanwhile, the battle for GT2 lead is starting to vaporize because Kimmo Suominen is increasing his gap to Eric Vader for 0.2 of a second every lap. So both guys are lapping extremely fast lap times, but Kimmo just every time 0.2 of a second faster.
And there's not a lot of chance of third place catching as well, because currently Robert Lorry is lapping in the 2:32s, which is currently about...
Yeah, if Toby just retired from the race after that, his last disconnection, then we only have 17 cars lapping at the moment.
Okay, so...
17 out of 34.
Very, very, very high attrition rate.
Yeah,
and,
but still, none of them resulting in from a crash. Everyone just either crashing by themselves, making a driver error, or just for some other reason disconnecting.
And speaking of driver errors, Mr. Jonathan Bootle's having a few dramas in the second half of the race in his GT1. That's liveried exactly the same as Le Mans entry, and he's just in pit lane at the moment, getting some repairs done.
Yeah, it seems to be all the fights have pretty much disappeared at the moment. The closest battle I've seen at the moment is battle for 4th spot in the Corvettes, which is 6.5 seconds apart from each other, so that's the closest fight we have at the moment. You know, we're following Kimmo Suominen on TV, who basically seems to be running into the sunset after getting past Eric Vadorf right here, because Kimmo is surely not going to need another pit stop.
Okay, so it looks, if they don't have any mistakes, dead and buried really for the classes. Which is the big old thing at the moment is whether Scott McDonald does need to do that splash and go. Currently 18 seconds is the gap between first, second position. And Juha Pai is getting held massively at the moment, just coming through corners number 21 through to 28 by Eric Vadorf as well. He's just going to start from the straight, start 37th lap, just managed to pass and close the door. We're going to do a lap, I think we're going to in-car into the roll bar with Kimmo Suurinen as well, which is going to be a delight for you all, as he's currently leading the GT2s.
Yeah, it's currently coming through corners 4, 5, 6 at the moment, which brings us to the long, short SS sort of curve, which is taken flat out with almost every car, and brings us to another SS, in which the driver has to lift just a tad to get the car to turn in before the slightly harder braking with these cars into the downhill left-hander, which brings us to the Oak Tree corner right here. Heavy braking down into second, third gear, depending on the gears. Try to get the maximum launch out of the corner right here, long back straight Madison Avenue, which this time brings us to the hairpin at the end of Madison Avenue instead of the left-right kink combination. And right here, at the end of Madison Avenue, the tight hairpin right-hander as Kimmo's getting passed by
that's Adamus,
lapping Corvettes of Adamus laps Kimmo right here, and then hard on the throttle. And actually, at this point where Kimmo is coming right now, the reason Juha Pai lifted every time was because Riley is bottoming out so heavily in that section that if he doesn't lift, the car just goes four-wheel slide. But anyway, coming into the Kimmo Suominen corner section here through Rogers curve, and then approaching Helsing and Krupp Ward corners, which takes us to the roller coaster. So coming through the 24th corner right here, and this is the roller coaster curve, deep right-hander, downhill, immediately followed by a tight left-hander downhill, then just try to get as good of a positioning into the last S's right here before opening hard the throttle and into the main straightaway for the 36th time for Kimmo Suominen in this race.
These guys are going to be knackered after 2 hours of this, aren't they? That's a busy old lap. We can just see Kimmo getting passed by Juha Pai as well.
Yeah, there's not as much breathing space in this track. You constantly have to keep braking, throttling, turning the car, and you just even the long Madison Avenue back straightaway just doesn't provide you it provides half of the breathing space you normally get because of the hairpin and the extra section.
And it says 28 corners. I probably think there's probably about over 30 or so you've really got to move around a lot, and especially when you've got some of the corners where you're really hitting the curbs as well, and they're really having to really work your brain and your arms quite hard just to keep an eye on how you land, if you're going to spin up or anything like that, don't lose control.
Yeah, even with the fast corners, that's an issue.
Yeah, Kimmo's really pushing up through the Carmen S's. That oak tree is a great old corner, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is. With almost any car, I especially love it with an MX-5 because you don't have that much power. You have a thin car. You're able to really push through that corner, get a huge slide coming out of that corner, and still get the best out of that car. I just love that corner with the low-powered cars.
Okay, so hour 38 minutes gone. We're in car with Kimmo Suurinen, and the gap between the first two drivers in the race, 26 seconds at the moment. So unless Scott comes in for a pit stop, which we almost think is a pretty dead cert.
Yeah, if it's not certain, then I would say that I'm surprised as hell because I cannot think of any way how Scott McDonough is able to nail a 16.8 second pit stop, having a full tank of fuel against Nick Thiessen, who had to do a splash, and he took 17.6 seconds. So I just cannot believe how he would have that much luck of gaining 3 seconds in a pit stop. But we'll keep track of it.
Juha Pai is right up behind Adamus now in the Corvette, just going to start for the straight. And David, you regretting not driving this one?
Yes and no. I didn't. I had a little practice earlier on, and I decided I would have. I decided to drive the Riley DP because I'd driven it quite a lot at Ver, but not this configuration. But yeah, I'm kind of moving over to the IndyCar now, so which I'll be racing at. Is it Pocono tomorrow?
Ah, Pocono, lovely. That's,
yes.
That's live on Glacier TV as well, I believe.
Oh yes, it is. So yeah, you'll be seeing the new livery that I've acquired.
Oh really? Oh okay. Well, I'll try not to do any spoilers at the moment. How did you find you raced last week for the first time, and how did you find that?
Yeah, it was great fun. Ended up losing out on pole position on my first run. We were playing around with a few setups, but yeah, it was really good. I managed to lead the race for 28 laps, which was nice, and yeah, and only problem was that there was a little bit of like lag contact on the connection, so I let a driver through, but the internet decided that I should visit the wall instead and took me out. So yeah, it was really good fun. Hopefully Pocono will be a better result.
Okay, so God bless you. Sorry, I'll interrupt this one, Mr. Batman. We did see you catch up Adoniscus, and just on the back straight, coming into Madison Avenue, actually before that...
Juha Pai goes wide in turn 20. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that was wide. He did that earlier in corner number 13 as well, when he did his pass on Adonis, and we did just see... Again. Is he having a bit of a Larry moment, or his tyres having a bit of a...
No, I think it's his tyres. I think he's just overran his tyres or something, or then it's just a bug with if you go off track, your rear end's just your tires just lose that much grip that he just went wide for a sec. Yeah, we're currently in-car with Juha, and as you can see from the steering wheel, the rally drivers doesn't have to do that much steering wheel work as GT2 drivers had, as we saw Kimo's in-car lap, and currently, as you're watching the hands of Juha Pai, he's not doing that much with his steering wheel, is he?
I think it's because they may be doing quite a lot of trail brake on this car.
Yeah, you do huge amounts of trail braking on the DP.
Just a little bit of help to make the weight shift itself around, dab the brake a couple of times, makes that rotation a little bit easier.
The old version used to be quite renowned for being a drift car. This one's a little bit more planted.
Yeah, with the new time on. Also the I believe the Cadillac, some of the earlier setups in the new Cadillac that's been brought into iRacing is quite trail brake happy as well, I believe.
I've not had a chance to drive that. Is that?
Oh, it's lovely.
Is that free for all members? I think it is.
It is free for members. So if you sign up to iRacing, you get the Cadillac as new content, which is an SCCA silhouette car, and great fun to drive. Pretty much sounds exactly like the Corvette, because they share an engine, and it does like to go up the straights a little bit.
I think after this race I'll set up a session and give it a go.
Fantastic. Right, well, we're still watching Juha Pai. He's now 30 seconds behind Scott McDonald.
Yeah, his last lap was 3.6 seconds slower than Scott. And actually, Scott's difference, I mean, the gap between Juha is actually enough to hold in a pit stop right now. He's increased the gap about 2 seconds a lap every time he's had a clean lap. And actually, the gap is about 29 seconds from now, 26 seconds or something like that. So if Scott pits right now and does a splash and dash, he still is able to beat Juha in the pits.
So as a driver, that's really, you always got, if you're behind someone, you always don't want to let it drop to about a pit stop, because you don't want that driver to be in front to be comfortable that they're that far ahead. So big old blow for Juha now. He's really got to try and claw that time back. And I believe Juha Land has also retired from the race, so massive attrition now. We're down to 16 drivers now, Yoni.
Let me double check that. Nope, I'm still showing 17 active drivers.
17 active drivers, and we're down to about the last sort of 16-17 minutes of the race.
Yeah, I think 9 laps, 10 laps remaining for the leader of the race so far, which is Scott McDonough, and I don't think he'll be lapping Kimmo Suominen, the leader of the GT2s, any longer. I have to check that one out. Well, he has a potential of lapping him, but no, I'll take that back. Doesn't have enough time to lap the leaders of the GT2, so my guess is that 52 laps will be in the books for Scott McDonough as this race completes, and Kimmo Suominen is going to be able to do 50 laps.
Okay, so what can we see going on track at the moment? Aside from a little bit of mixed class lapping, there's not really an awful lot going on. So the Kimmo and Eric Vadoff battle is depleted.
Yeah, it seems to be. Actually, did you say Adomas was? Adomas took a DNF?
Ah,
because
do you have
he
some
did.
drama?
Yeah.
I didn't say that. When did he? Oh, he's dropped. He dropped to the 8th tree. Just coming in. Yeah, so just coming into McGirt corner, just understeered, slid onto the grass, into the wall, bang. That's his race done.
Yeah, so 16 out of 34 drivers remaining with the last 15 minutes in the last 14 minutes in the race. So this brings up Ian Rogers now up to 3rd in the Corvettes, and Eagle Sandfeld up into 4th.
So that's a tough blow for Adamus, dropping out in the last quarter now from a podium position. So the Top Fury Racing car, the green Top Fury Racing car of Ian Rogers, has appropriately on a very green circuit made his way onto the podium.
Currently, you're looking at the leader of the Corvette series, which is Farouk Manzar, the person who dominated the final round of the TFR Super Cup, I believe, in Road Atlanta.
Yeah, absolutely. What a really strong drive from Farouk Manzar. He's been quiet today because he's just been that much faster than everyone. But that was pretty much how it was in Road Atlanta last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, seems to be a fairly simple job for this man if he just gets a clean air in front of him.
And if any of you guys want to remind yourself what it was like in Road Atlanta last week, then we are on YouTube under Glacier TV Archive, I believe.
Come again?
We are, so just try to plug your YouTube channel, Mr. Yoni.
Yeah, Glacier TV Archive is our official YouTube channel, where you can find actually all the streams as soon as they are finished and uploaded, excluding this one since we don't want to provide you 3 different small segments of video if we're having more ISP issues during the broadcast. But anyway, we're going to be uploading it as soon as possible to YouTube, plus our website archive to be downloaded directly, so you don't have to use YouTube downloader and lose quality.
Okay, so Farouk Manzar just coming through. Sedevest is now 43 laps done for himself. He's currently about, I would say, about 16, 17 seconds ahead of Yao Cardoso as well in second position. And Yao's driven an excellent race today, hasn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's been pretty much in the shadows for the majority of the race. We've been focusing on the leader of the GT2 battles and the leaders of the Rileys, but Joe Cardoso has kept his number 25 in the shadows for majority of this race and still being currently second in the Corvette. So an awesome drive from this guy, and actually his fastest lap of the race is full second faster than Farouk Manzar's.
Oh wow!
Actually, that last lap was the fastest lap of the race, 2:21.2 for Joe Cardoso, 1 second faster than the current leader.
And that's about half a second of a qualification pace as well. So very quick from Yao. Then what a timely chance to just to focus on Yao a little bit as well, and his lovely little black and yellow liveried Corvette.
Yeah, this will be actually fun to see if he keeps closing the gap with the rate that he's currently closing. He actually has a chance to catch Farouk Manzar before the end of the race.
Okay, then. So now we have something else developing. And Mr. Ward, just bringing him in. Do you think this is what's your bets then? Do you think this is going to happen?
No, I think Farouk's just taking it easy, and he's gonna just bring it on home. He'll just pick up the pace again.
Pessimist. What you want to happen is next lap round, a glorious fail through the Ward corner in a roller coaster, and gives Yao the lead. But maybe that won't happen.
Maybe it might do now that you've just said that against it.
Farouk's been pretty bulletproof all season, apart from I believe in Road America where he collected Mr. Peterson in a late braking manoeuvre. I think he's been pretty good apart from that, hasn't he?
And that last time by, Cardoso closes another 0.7 of a second.
That Farouk Peterson incident was going into Canada corner as well.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. The incident that could literally be heard from Canada. 22.139 was Yao's last lap, and a 22.8 was Farouk's last lap as well. So, yeah, absolutely. Farouk's probably just taking things a little bit slower now. Just make sure he brings the car home. Don't know how much fuel he's got bought on board of that thing as well, but he may even be trying to just save fuel a little bit. He certainly didn't give it that much aggression coming out of the Oak Tree corner as well, so nice and smooth.
Johan Pye just ran a little bit wide going through the twisty section.
So now the main question in terms of dealing with the win of the whole racing as a whole is Scott McDonough has to pit.
That is the question.
By the way, Adomas is back on the track. He's still sitting in the pits getting his repairs done. So he is back on the track surface, but And currently we lost the stream again. The picture of the stream. Sorry about that. That has nothing to do with us. It has something to do with ISP having its issues. But nothing we can do about that. But we're trying to get the stream back up and running as soon as possible.
Okay, so we've switched from Glacier TV to Glacier Radio again, which is good. I prefer radio. And we'll just give you a quick tips, a quick catch up on what's going on circuit at the moment. We're waiting to see if Scott McDonald is going to pit. We've got about 8 minutes left of the race. 25 seconds is the gap between Scott and Juha in first and second position. Farouk Manzar is currently lapping just a little bit off his pace in the GT1 for the lead, and Yael Cardoso's just about 12 or 13 seconds behind him, and Adamas in fifth position, the GT1s, is currently in the pits getting repaired, and we're just going to see if Jonathan Boutau can unlap himself and get him on the same lap as Adamas as well. So we're going to see, we might see a change for fifth position. That's done in the pits. GT2s, however, quite sorted now. Kimmo Surunen took a stab at catching Eric, passed Eric, both came into the pits. Eric got out before Kimmo. Kimmo had to do it all over again, which he did, into the first corner. Horseshoe, Peterson, they were alongside, and they closed the deal by NASCAR Bend. I believe NASCAR Bend is called NASCAR Bend because that's where all the NASCARs are located, because they can't make corner number 3. And that's about it for the race so far, isn't it, guys?
By the way, in the background, Mark Bird dropped from 4th place in the GT2s down into 6th. Some error, I don't know what, but now he's currently in 6th place, 0.7 of a second behind Jesper Egeback in 5th.
Okay, so we're back.
We have, no more radio.
We're back in the Glacier TV now. No Glacier radio. So we can put our smiles back on now, and that means you guys can see us. Mark Bird has fallen down to 6th position, and just going to see, he's right up behind Jesper, isn't he?
Yeah, we could actually take Mark Bird, number 10 car, to the TV, because that is developing to be a nice little battle at the remaining stages of the race for 5th spot in the GT2s.
Yep, and there's just sandwiched there by the Peak Riley Daytona prototype of Nick Thyssen, which is pretty much the worst paint job of the day, I think. Just went to bring these pictures to you now. And it looks like Mark Bird's got a little bit of damage in his rear wing as well, so he's been in the walls today.
Yeah, seems to be not a bad damage, but still it's a contact with someone, and it doesn't necessarily disturb you that much. It can be just a straight line speed, but on the other hand, it also can cause your car to be very, very slippery.
Out of the corner of my eyes, I keep seeing Jesper and Mark Bird take different corners, different lines through the corners, and all of a sudden I think it's on, but they are getting very, very, very close as they come through Oak Tree now.
William Pinar's another off again.
Okay, and that's William Pinar all the way down in 7th position in the GT2s.
Yeah, at least he's bringing it home. Some of the other guys have binned it, so he'll finish the race.
Absolutely, and that rear wing of Williams looks like an old chewing gum wrapper. It's that bent up.
By the way, the gap between the Scott McDonough and Juha Pai for the win of the race is still pretty consistent. Solidified to about 26 seconds. It alters depending on what corners are they running in, but yeah, still it's 40. I have to check. I have to refresh. Yeah, 47th lap underway, and still Scott McDonough has not made his splash and dash.
Well, Scott's had to fight himself through a GT2. I was about to say a battle between Eric Vadoff and Danny Bowles, but these guys are the same team. They're certainly running the same paint jobs, a bit different colours. So I think there's quite a professional drive drive coming from these two guys now. They just want to proper Le Mans style it, drive home together, nice little photo opportunity, or screen grab opportunity for the guys watching as well. So looks like these guys are literally just coasting now to the end of the race.
Meanwhile, there's a good battle going on between the car 29 of Ian Rogers and Egil Sandfeld for the third position of the Corvettes.
These guys are very fighty. They are absolutely on it, and we've seen Ian make a few mistakes as well. So maybe Egil can force him into a mistake.
Yeah, this will be fun to watch. Both guys surely are going to whatever opportunity for overtaking they get, they will.
They're on it side by side. This is on now as they go through Madison Avenue down into corner number 30, where we've seen the majority of the passing today, and they are side by side, last of the late breakers. Very long.
Ian goes very wide, too wide.
So that's it. The hand was called. Rogers went long, narrowly missed out that little pink, little orange partition, and that move has been done.
Yeah, so much for that battle. No way that's going to be turning up into a battle anymore. But currently, I'll set my eyes on Scott McDonough in the lead of the race and see if he's going to pit anytime soon.
Okay, on the keep
1 minute 30 seconds remaining in this race.
Okay, we can just see. I can just have a look back as well. Jesper and Mark Bird are still pretty close. And Mr. Ward, are there any other battles on the circuit?
No, I've been looking through. I can't really see anything. I've just been watching the lap times between Scott and Juha. Scott had a 1:24 on the last lap, and Juha had a 1:20. So grabbed 4 seconds out of him. But that's Scott going through traffic, and we're looking at what the last few laps, and I think Scott's got this in the bag, and unless he has to do a splash and dash.
By the way, I have to say that currently you're looking at your screen, you're seeing that there is about 40 seconds or 30 seconds remaining in the race. That has to be inaccurate because of the fact that the ISP issues with zeros, basically the offset set in the software of the timing, which basically brings to a situation that there actually is about 5 minutes remaining in this race. So currently on lap 48, and I would say 51 or 52 is going to be the last time by for Scott McDonough, so still a good 5 minutes remaining.
Egil Sandfield off. Egil Sandfield is off. Big impact. Just in front of Nick Thiessen as well. Reverses onto the circuit. Narrowly misses the GT2 car following through, and that was Robert Laurie as well. So he's had an off beforehand, just a few corners before, but this time it was a massive off into the wall. Big impacts in the front, and well, he was what, third position? Ian Rogers will now have that third position back nice and safely.
Yeah, and his tyre's going to be cooked, so he's going to have to be careful going up these S's again, or he's going to be having problems.
I don't know if we saw that on camera, and I certainly don't know if we've got a replay of it. We have got a replay of it.
Yeah, we saw. Yeah. And
big impact there. Big impact from Egil Sandfield then, and that's a shame because he capitalised on the mistake he forced Ian Rogers into. Then a few laps later, he's now lost his podium finish in the GT1 class, and this has been an excellent finish to the race because we thought for a moment that we weren't going to have that many fights, and all of a sudden there's about 3 or 4 incidents or stories that have come to fruition. And one of the stories as well is that Adonis, who was in the pits for quite a long time, he's now on the same map as Jonathan Buttel.
And Jonathan Buttel's had a spin as well.
And he's right in front of Thiessen again. So Nick Thiessen, everywhere it looks, there seems to be some kind of GT1 or GT2 that's off the circuit somewhere. So very scary for him.
Yeah, it's coming into that time, isn't it? Fatigue and concentration just lacking that little bit, and it only takes a lap of concentration and you're going to be sliding up onto the grass.
That's it. Once your mind goes back to just thinking, okay, right, 5 more laps. Instead of hitting your markers, you're starting to lose concentration, making mistakes, and that's when, as we saw with Egil Sandfield, you find yourself in the wall.
Yeah, or you're thinking about what you're going to say in the interview, and then you crash it into the tyre barrier.
Oh no. Is that happening, Ms. Ward?
Daytona sprung to mind.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
And
That's
apparently Kimmo Suominen has gone off track.
Well, it doesn't seem to have affected him that much. His last lap was a 2:30. Where did that happen? Ah, it was. He just touched the wall as well, coming into. I think that may have been. I have no idea where that corner is. They all look the same. Big slide, big lock, just a touch on the wall, missed the tyre wall, and then back onto the circuit. And where was that? That was was that in Suriname Bend?
Not sure.
No, it was just before Suriname. So it might have been in the spiral that happened.
And by the way, Scott McDonough is currently coming over the start and finish line to start lap number 50 with 3 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in the actual race. So as you see the counter in the bottom of the screen go to 6:50, that's when we're going to get the white flag.
So you predicted 51 laps, didn't you?
Yeah,
Mr.
pretty
Batman.
much.
51 laps, that's pretty good. And Mr. Ward, you predicted that they would come into the pits in 45 minutes. That was terrible.
Because
yeah,
he's currently on lap 50. He's going to get 58 and something minutes as he starts 50%. Yeah, well, okay. Yeah, 51 laps. My bad.
Right, so is it too early to call driver of the day? We'll start with Johnny. Johnny, who's your driver of the day?
That's a tough one. I would say.
Mr. Ward.
This is
Mr. Ward,
seriously a tough one.
You're
No,
so glad I
don't
came
even
to you,
think
sir.
don't even think about giving him the microphone. I would say Scott McDonough. I mean, he fooled us he fooled every one of us. I mean, I was dead sure he's not going to be able to survive the race without pitting an extra pit stop, and he's just about to start the last lap of the race, and he has not pitted.
Okay, then, Mr. Ward.
Mine's going to be Farouk. He's been very quiet, and he's just been turning over laps and basically destroyed the whole of the GT1 field.
Okay then. Well, you've gone for Johnny. You've gone for the Riley driver. Certainly be very quick. Farouk has been the model of a professional driver, out in the lead. Doesn't need the commentators to talk about him because all he's doing is lapping extremely fast and not getting himself in any bother. So it feels like I should go towards the GT2 driver, and it's got to be Kimmo again because obviously the guy's had to fight his way back twice into the lead now, and it's kept it very clean throughout. So that's That's pretty much the first three classes covered for driver of the days then. And
yep. And meanwhile, white flag for Scott McDonough if the calculations are correct.
Okay, so what we're seeing is potentially the last lap here for Scott McDonald. The white flag will have been shown, and he's just flying now through the early stages of Virginia International Raceway East Course.
Yeah, pretty much a flawless drive, especially for the fact that he did not have to pit that second time around. He totally outpaced Juha Pai with just superior tactics. Nick Thiessen's is off. I'm seeing I don't see Nick Thiessen, the third spot runner in the Rileys. I can't see him in the screens. Not that he's going to lose that spot though, because David Scott is full 2 laps back. But
Okay, he was heavily damaged coming into Oak, I believe. He locked up going into Oak, went wide, went sideways, bam, straight into the tyre wall, big damage on his front wheel, came out of Oak, and I believe he may have just parked it.
yeah, actually, he potentially has a chance of losing that third spot in the last lap, because David Scott is now 1 lap behind the leader, and the leader has just come back past the oak tree.
Okay, so we'll see if that happens. David Scott will be one that capitalises, I suppose, from that, and he's had a pretty uneventful drive as well, quite a steady drive. bit quite a slow drive as well. And looks like the leader is just coming on to into ward and into roller coaster now.
Corners.
Glacier curves, and fittingly enough, he's stuck behind Kimmo, going down into the hog pen. And if Kimmo looks in his rearview mirrors, works out what's going on, he might just pull over and let through hog pen and let as he does now, because he doesn't want to do an extra lap. And the win of the Green Heaven 2-hour TFR race goes to Scott McDonald in the Riley Daytona prototype.
Yep, and Juha Pai just coming over the start and finish line now. Excellent second spot for him as well. After them, there's a good minute and 10 seconds back to the leader of the Corvettes, I believe, Farouk Manzar.
Yeah, Farouk Manzar is just going into corner number 13, Madison Avenue, into Cobbins Bitch, and then down into the spirals. And as everyone else comes over the line now, indeed, Kimmo Surunen, who pulled over and let the leader of the race past him, was actually very, very low on fuel and running out, so that was a double bonus for Kimmo. And Farouk Manzar just coming up through the combination named after himself: Rogers, Helsed and Krupp, Bird, Ward, and into the roller coaster.
I have to say, looking at the final result sheet, quite a rainbow we're seeing currently, because first two guys, Riley's, next two cars, Corvettes, then two Riley's, two Corvettes, then three GTs, then two Corvettes, then four GTs, then two Riley's, so quite a rainbow in the final result sheet.
And I think that's a testament to the proper little curveball of the combinations, the circuit and the car combinations that were given out as well. Yep. This is an extremely, extremely difficult combination. Farouk Manzar just came into just finished the race on the horseshoe, just tried to drift it all the way around the horseshoe as well. So all three class leaders have now finished. Great racing for the guys. And Egil Sandfield, in fact it wasn't Egil, it was Jonathan Boutel, comes over the line and blows his engine as well, so lots of smoke.
Rob, you want to go through the final results?
Right, okay, now we're ready for the final results. First position in Riley's, Scott McDonald. Second position, Juha Pai. Third, Nick Thyssen. Fourth is David Scott. Retirees, Harvard Espland, Lasse Brun Hansen and Isfo Tirunen. In the Corvettes, Farouk Manzar wins. Second position, Yao Cardoso. Third position, Ian Rogers. Fourth, Egil Sandfield. Fifth, Adomis Pakutinskas. In sixth position, Jonathan Boutel. The retirees, most of the field, Luc Van Schiek, Stefan Van Helsenden, Dennis Richard, Anders Dahl, David Garcia, Jose Estrada, Michael Helen and David Peterson did not start. In the 4 GTs, Kimmo Surunen wins. Eric Vedov comes second. Third position, Robert Laurie. Fourth position, Danny Bowles. Fifth, Jesper Egerbach. Sixth position, David Bird. And William Pinar brings up the GT field. In the retirees were 8th position, Stefan Coppins, Toby Bushnell, John Malia, Richard Sobolewski, Michael C. West, Jasper Granrick and Russell Gleeson. Oliver Brandt did not start. Okay, so great race guys, you all enjoyed yourself. We're going to run through some interviews if anyone turns up. But there's some absolutely fantastic racing through the field then guys.
Yeah, indeed. Surprisingly, a lot of action. I was surprised. I was expecting a far more single-file racing here.
And we still didn't see any inter-class accidents.
Yeah, that was surprising, especially in the hairpins. I was dead sure that one of the Rileys is going to dive bomb, but obviously Riley drivers are not HPD drivers, so at least they have brains.
We also had quite a thin field of Rileys. We had 7 drivers start, and of those 7, 4 of them start, 4 of them finish. So very, very thin field. And who are we going to get in first? Is anyone else?
Doesn't seem so. That yep, Eric Vadorf is here, just in time.
Welcome to the commentary booth, Mr. Vadorf. How are you doing?
Really good.
How did you find that race? You had a you had a race of looking at Kimmo trying to catch you up.
Yeah, really tough race for me. Bit sad in the end when I lost it.
And tell us what happened in the pit stop, because we saw you basically just take Kimmo in the pits.
Yeah, I took 90 liters and tires and all, so I thought I made a mistake or something. But I overtook him, so that was good.
And so after 2 hours of racing, how difficult was this circuit?
I couldn't feel my ass in the end, so really tough track and really hard to stay focused on it all the time.
So certainly one of the more physical combinations.
Yeah, really hard. I haven't in the TFR series. There is no track that's this hard.
Fantastic. And speaking of the TFR series, are you looking to take part in the Super Cup, in the Summer Super Cup?
Yeah. Same as last season. Hoping to take a podium this time.
Excellent, because you are pretty much one of the top 5 or top 3 drivers in the GT2 field, so it should be good racing to watch. What was it like having the Rileys and the Corvettes come past you?
They were very similar. Not very many riders though, but kind of hard on this track to stay focused and with these guys flying by all the time. But they did a good job, so that was fine.
And we saw a couple of times when you had, I think Nick Thiessen actually sandwiching you guys. Were you just looking in the rearview mirror hoping that maybe Nick and Kimmo would just sort of come together?
Yeah, that was crazy times, but they stay still focused, and yeah, really tough track, and they did a good job all.
Oh, superb racing. Trying to think if there's anything else we need to cover today, Johnny. Absolutely. Any questions for Eric, chaps?
No.
Right. Okay. Well, it looks like we've not been joined by any other drivers, unfortunately. So to wrap this up pretty soon.
No, like I say, congratulations to Eric for surviving to 2 hours around the Vero racetrack. This is not the easiest one to do.
Thank you.
Right, okay then guys, so all that's left to say is the closing credits. Thanks so much for joining us for 2 hours at Virginia International Raceway for the TFR Week 13 series. Thanks so much for Eric Vadorf for joining us after race for an interview as well. And congratulations to all drivers that managed to finish the race. And thank you to my co-commentators David Ward and to Yoni Batman as well, and also to Jarno, our very, very busy cameraman today, who's had a very, very busy 2 hours.
Yep, basically that sums up our 2 hours of Green Heaven. So we hope you enjoyed the broadcast, and be sure to join next week for another start of the season for another TFR Summer Cup, I believe. So until then, see ya.